Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out, joined by former world champion Anthony Crolla, courtesy of our friends at Freebets. You can read his column on freebets.com and Seconds Out. Anthony, good to see you. How you doing?
Mate, how are we? It's good to see you also. No, I'm good, thank you. Just train the fighters and looking forward to a fantastic weekend of boxing. Some top fights all around the UK, Ireland, America. Yep. So yeah, good shows.
Just want to reflect on last week's action. I read your column on Chisora versus Joyce, the preview, and a lot like other people as well too. There's an expectation that
Yeah,
Joyce would
I
come
got
through
that
this
wrong, didn't I?
and look very good in the fight. You weren't the only one who got it wrong, Anthony.
Yeah.
I put myself in that club too. How impressed were you with Chisora's performance, and what do you think could be next for him?
Do you know what? As if you read the column or you listened to it was going exactly as I thought.
Hmm.
Do you know where? But well, longer than the 3 rounds, and I thought, no, it looks like Derek's lungs are going to be burst. They're going to bust, and then he might end up stopping Derek. More of like accumulation. And listen, how impressed was with Derek, and I did say he'd have to pull out that one last big performance, and he did just that. I mean, listen, there's no denying was so disappointing. Yeah, absolutely, but it was he's just. Are we? And when I say roll back the years, I don't know if he just fought on heart, really, to be honest. Derek, I think there was times where obviously I was working, it wasn't there, and I was on the commentary, and we was in the studio there, obviously, but we was talking through and stuff like that. And me and Fabio was saying, you've got to be scoring these rounds for Chisora because anything I catch him was coming from Chisora. All the bits of quality was coming from him. And as it went on, you're thinking, no, we can't keep this up. Can't keep this up. And then before you know it, it's round 6, 7, the knockdown came. And listen, did that knockdown win him the fight? Yeah, on the scorecards, but also I think it probably won him the fight as in Joe was really in the driving seat. Even after the knockdown, I felt like Derek had been the one who'd knocked down, who'd been put over. But yeah, Derek, he shocked so many people in British boxing. And yeah, it was fair play. It was one I didn't mind getting wrong.
There's talk of him versus White in another fight with him, Wilder, or potentially Zhang. Which one do you want to see? Or, Anthony, you're someone who left the sport with your
Yeah,
faculties intact
yeah.
and things. You're rolling the dice at that point. What do you want to see?
I said on air, I think we all got tricked for a moment, didn't we? When Dan was in the ring with him, and we thought, oh my God, has he just announced his retirement? Then very quickly he said, no, that's not my last fight. I'm gonna have 2 more fights. I would have loved to have seen him go out on a massive high like that. Everyone's singing his name. Like, I'll be honest, I was like, I didn't really want him to carry on. Anyway, I like Derek, but he rolled, like I say, he rolled back the years, but he put in that one big last performance. I think it's the perfect time to say goodbye. Any of the names there who you've just said, I wouldn't want Zhang. Who else did you mention? You mentioned Wilder, and who else did you mention?
Uh, what Dylan White?
Dillian White. I mean, him and Dillian, he's always an option with the two entertaining fights that they've had. It probably makes the most sense from a UK side of things. But I think Wilder's gone now. I think he's totally gone. So it'd probably be that. And that as a fight to say, if he was picking a fight with Derek Chisora, some people think you're absolutely mental. But I do believe Wilder is gone now. I really do. Might be wrong. I was wrong last week. Probably needs that to be in the most comfortable fight for him, which sounds absolutely crazy. But hopefully you see and others listening would know what I mean by that.
Let's turn our attention to this weekend, and we've got a real good fight stakes in terms of future fights with Canelo potentially on the horizon, stakes as well, and pound for pound status as well too, and stakes for two undefeated fighters in the form of Terence Crawford and Israil Madrimov. In the column,
Yeah.
you said there you feeling the late stoppage, but picking the points for Crawford.
Yeah.
What about the weight though? The weight differential. He's come in at 154, first fight, and it's Israil Madrimov, one of the best
Yeah.
at that weight. Why do you think the weight won't be as much of a factor and Crawford can come through it?
I I just think Crawford's a special fighter. I fought it for a long time. I've been lucky enough to see him up close, and I've been very lucky to see a lot of the pound for pounders, in recent times up close. And the first time I saw Crawford was against Ricky Burns, And Ricky at the time was a top lightweight. And I believe Crawford was struggling with the weight. He had a few good wins after it. And he never really got out of second gear. And I always remember around ringside people saying, he was very good, but is he as good as what people have been saying? And I thought, he's better because he's going to move up the weights and he's going to go and win world titles. I thought he was, like I said, I've been lucky enough to see Canelo, obviously Lomachenko, Mayweather, and Usyk, stuff like that, close. And he's right up there. Do you know what I mean? In my opinion, he's right up there. So versatile. And I believe that's it. And I think he's putting the weight on well. And I think he handled the size, although I think weight might have been an issue for Earl Spence. I thought he handled the size really good of Spence. But I think he's unbelievably strong, Crawford. But like I say, I think the balance and the versatility takes away that strength. So that's what I believe he can go higher. Or he's been allowed to go higher. But there's no denying if fighters keep moving up in weights and they come against good fighters, Canelo, say, being, an example, they do get beat. Madrimov is, I think, a very, very good fighter. I don't, but and listen, I think he's one of the top 154s in the world. But that sort of just speaks a lot about Terence Crawford. Like, first fight 154, yeah, I'll fight Madrimov. I don't think he beats Terence Crawford. Like I say, I think it'll be a chess match early on. And then Crawford, like I say, the way he adapts, his versatility, I just think it comes into play. And he starts pulling away in the second half of the fight.
Is Canelo a step too far?
At what weight?
Super
There
middle.
we go. That's what I mean. At super middle. I don't know. That's it. Listen, do I believe? You got to remember as well, timing could be everything. Is Canelo slowing down a little bit? He's been around a long time, hasn't he? He's been around a long time, jumping up and down in weight, so does come into play. Is it a step too far? And listen, I think Saturday night might answer a few of those questions. Where if he looks strong at that weight, you think, well, he can go up again. But again, it's another stone, isn't it? So at the minute, it's a tough one to call.
You're quite set though on Martin Bakole being able to beat Jared Anderson. What is it that you
Yeah.
wanted to see from Anderson that hasn't quite
No,
reflected on TV
I
that gives
believe
confidence in
I
Bakole?
believe Anderson. I believe Anderson. I think he's very talented. I think he's a good heavyweight, and how he's speaking as well. You can see he's genuinely confident. I know he's working with Sugar Hill.
Hmm.
Now isn't he? And Sugar Hill normally has them a little bit more aggressive, doesn't he? That old Kronk style. He says they always train for the KO. I believe that suits Bakole. I think Bakole is a very, very good fighter. I think he had that one strange slip up against Michael Hunter. He was a good fighter, but you hear things, and I heard things in the camp, and listen, people say, oh, no excuses, but he just didn't see himself. Something didn't seem right. I think since then, I believe Bakole, I think he's a problem for anyone in the heavyweight division. Very big, but he's got a fantastic engine on him by all accounts. So someone that size, when I say very big, what I meant was, so yeah, probably carrying a little bit. But when someone that size has that engine and that, that punch count, they're a problem, aren't they? And I just see him catching up with Jared Anderson. I just think, yeah, that's the bet for me. I think by stoppage as well, but certainly just to win. He's a little bit of an underdog as well, so I think there's great value in that.
You went as far as to say he gives problems to Usyk, Fury, and AJ.
Yeah, I do. I think Bakole is a problem, and I think he just needs fights like Jared Anderson. We just need to see him in with the better opposition. I don't think it's through any fault of his own. Since of the Hunter fight, he's been very comfortable who he's been in with. Do you know what I mean? I just think, and I know obviously Billy's trainers always like screaming from the hilltops, will fight absolutely any of them, and they're confident they back him against most. But I think these are the kind of fights he starts needing now, and he's probably deserved because I reckon he's probably been a little bit avoided as well.
It's not quite the glitz and glamour of LA, but in Barnsley, Callum Simpson headlines a stadium show at
Yeah,
Opal Stadium, maybe ready for lift-off against Zach Chelli. Zach Chelli will be looking to put a stop to the early party. How
yeah.
do you feel this one goes between the two?
I think it's a good fight. I think it'll be the hardest fight of Callum Simpson's career. Fantastic home support. I think we'll cheer him on. But Chelly's a tough man. Chelly's a tough man. Last time out, he had a fantastic result in beating Jack Cullen. I feel that Mark Jeffers would have set a bit of a blueprint how to, for Simpson. I think they're the tactics he'll go with. And I see Simpson coming away on points, doing it on points. I think listen, they might get a little bit messy and physical at time, but I just think the moments of quality will come through Callum Simpson. No, he's a big puncher, a lot of stoppages, on the record. But like I say, I think Chelly's. I'll ask a few questions. Chelly's a good fighter. I'll ask a few questions, fit, but I see Simpson coming away on points.
I was very surprised to read that Tyron McKenna was having another, I guess, retirement fight after
Yeah,
the back of the Lewis Crocker defeat there. It's good though that the opponent is Mohammed Mimoun, which is revisiting some of the
yeah.
controversies many years ago. I didn't keep track of Mimoun though, but I did check his record and had a couple of conversations with people, and it seemed like he never really had that backing and never was really fancied
He,
by promoters. He's had quite a bit out of the ring as well too, not had that activity. But do you think Mimoun can get that little bit of revenge?
I lean towards Moon. Yeah, like I say, I watched the first fight over at York Hall, and Tyrone like always never questioned his heart, and the F Moon, but he was very fortunate in a lot of people's opinion to get the decision that night. Moon, there's nothing wrong. He's lost a few times since that night, but he has lost in very good company as well. I just listen. Are both men as fresh as what they was back then? No, I think there's probably both miles on the clock, but I do think Moon. I think he wins. I think he wins. I don't think there'll be loads in it, but I think Moon gets revenge on points. But I think it's a good fight. The first fight was very good. I think it was just over by the controversy because everyone thought Moon was very unlucky. But yeah, I just believe that he'll get revenge that night over in Belfast. Listen, McKenna will have fantastic support. So, because again, I just see Moon just beating him to the punch and wins on points.
Anthony, a couple of quick things before I let you go. First of all, it's been
Go.
confirmed now from Tyson Fury's team that he's going to stick with his corner, that being Sugar Hill Stewart, Andy Lee, and Big John Fury. Do you
Yeah.
feel confident that that corner can guide him through the revenge victory against Usyk?
Well, yeah, because listen, you got to remember last time. I mean, I thought Usyk, definitely won, but there wasn't loads in it. There was people who thought Tyson, might have nicked it or so. So there wasn't. Listen, I thought Usyk definitely won. If he didn't get the decision, I thought it would have been pretty hard done by, well, very hard done by. But a few little adjustments. Listen, the fight looked like it was won around the halfway stage, didn't it? Obviously, there was criticism in the corner because there was a lot of voices. You'd think that would get sorted out. Obviously, there's a few, who think that there's obviously this thing of too many chiefs, too many people having their opinion in the corner. But obviously, that's up to Sugar Hill to control that. And with advice, I think obviously Andy Lee's a great addition, to that corner. But no, I do believe, listen, they just fell short last time. It wasn't like I say, there wasn't loads in it. So no, I do believe that can be put right. And listen, I think at one point in that fight, was it 6 or 7, you thought he's going to win it. He might even get the stoppage. Do you know what I mean? He might even get the stoppage late. So no, I do believe that corner can guide him to a win. But I think this time, I think Usyk starts favourite with most.
And lastly, your pal Vasyl Lomachenko doesn't seem to have the appetite for a Gervonta Davis fight right now. Some even maybe feel he might not even return to the ring. What's your thoughts on losing out on that fight?
Oh, listen, I would have loved to have seen it. I know this sounds mad, but I think Lomachenko's been massively unlucky in the sense of the war back home. Obviously, he had to give up, fighting. It was Kambosos, wasn't it, back then? I think
Yeah.
it was Kambosos back then. And he stepped in. And I just, listen, if it's the last we see of Vasyl Lomachenko, obviously, he's been an unbelievable fighter, a future Hall of Famer. For me, one of the very best amateur boxers that's ever lived. Really believe that. He, in a professional career, he took on almost everyone, didn't he? So if that's not for him, you can only respect that. I don't think you could ever question the heart or anything like that, obviously, Lomachenko. If he does come back, hopefully we do see it. I think even like with Kambosos last time out, listen, again, we talked before, is it a few miles? As he slowed down a bit, possibly, but he still looked very impressive at times, the way he took apart Kambosos, who's a good fighter. So Yeah, we shall see. I like say I wouldn't be surprised if we see him again. I think we will see him again, but at the minute, like he doesn't seem to have that hunger. If you're to believe what the interview is saying, to fight again too soon. But special fighter.
Anthony, appreciate the conversation. Looking forward to the reaction pieces on freebets.com as well too. Thank you for speaking to Seconds Out, sir.
Hopefully a few winners this weekend. See you later.